Good evening. Welcome everyone to our LAFCO meeting tonight. Today is Wednesday, August 22nd. It is a little after 6 p.m. If everyone would please stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's start off with our introduction of commissioners and staff. Michael, you're up.
Mike Van Winkle, City Representative.
Jim DeMartini, County Member.
Terry Withrow, County Member.
Richard O'Brien, City Member.
Brad Hahn, alternate public member, but I get to vote tonight because the real public member is not here, so I get to be the real one.
I could have said something like that.
Javier Camarena, Assistant Executive Officer.
Sarah Lytle-Penny, Executive Officer.
Rob Taro, LAFCO Counsel.
Jennifer Goss, Commission Clerk.
Thank you. Okay, now is time for public comment. Anyone who would like to speak for, it's 3 minutes here. We allow 5 minutes at the board, but only 3 minutes here, I guess. Anything that's not on the agenda? Would anybody like to speak?
I think Patrick has something for us.
Patrick, okay. Okay, very good. Moving on, approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at the minutes, and if so, I need a motion.
Okay, move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All in favor? Aye. No. Passes unanimously. Correspondence?
There's no specific correspondence or informational tonight other than the in the news items.
Okay, very good. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to look at those. Declaration of conflicts and disqualifications. Any tonight? Nope. Seeing none. Okay. We are going to open the public hearing. Okay, Sarah, or Javier, sorry.
Good evening, Javier Camarena with LAFCO. We have a brief discussion / presentation for you this evening. The item we are discussing is LAFCO application number 2018-03, Orchard Village Mobile Home Park, change of organization to the Keys Community Services District. For this presentation, we don't have slides, but we do have a project map. Should be available for all of the commissioners, and for audience members there are copies of the map in the lobby. Location of the project, it's at 4920 Faith Home Road, adjacent to a TID lateral, and is within the Keys Community Services District. Description of the project, it's a parcel approximately 8.45 acres in size. The current use on the property is a mobile home park, and the project is a proposal to annex the mobile home park into the Keys Community Service District to provide water service. As part of that process, the mobile home park will be abandoning 2 wells in order to facilitate that connection to the Keys CSD water system. Just to provide the commission with a little bit of background, the mobile home park was issued a violation for exceeding arsenic back in November of 2017. They exceeded the maximum contaminant levels. Earlier this year, LAFCO staff approved a out-of-boundary service request for the site to connect to water due to health and safety reasons. The out-of-boundary application was approved with the understanding that the district would be coming back into our department for application for annexation, and that's why we're here today. So they're fulfilling that part of their agreement. And now, as part of the annexation, in accordance with Cortese Knox Hertzberg, several factors must be considered when approving an annexation. Those factors are related to population, growth, local plans and policies, impacts to agriculture and services. If you'd like more information on those factors and a general overview of those factors as they apply to this project, they can be found on pages 2 through 4 of the staff report. Also, just to add, pursuant to government code, the commission may waive protest proceedings for the annexation. government code gives the commission that power to waive those protest proceedings if the following requirements are met. The first one, that landowners and registered voters have been notified by mail, which they have. That notice disclosed that there is an intent to waive the protest proceedings, which the notice did include that information. And the third, that no written opposition has been received, and staff has not received any correspondence from any agency or registered voters or property owners in opposition to the annexation. So staff's recommendation can be found on pages 5 and 6 of your staff report, which include approving the change of organization of the Orchard Village, I was going to say Valley, Orchard Village Mobile Home Park to the Key CSD as outlined in attached resolution number 2018-13. Approval would include consideration of the environmental documentation, waiver of the protest proceedings, and again, approval of the annexation. That concludes my comments, my presentation. So if the commission has any questions, staff is available.
Very good. Thanks, Javier. Any questions of Javier or any other staff?
I just wondered, are the individual units going to have water meters now? Or that's really not our deal, probably.
They wouldn't necessarily be required to, and we're not entirely certain in this case if the district is just going to be serving the mobile home park as one total entity with the mobile home park, then passing on those costs to the individual units. They wouldn't be required to. They're less than 200 connections. It would likely have at least 1 meter on the mobile home park itself as a whole.
Oh, just 1 meter for the whole park?
Right.
That could be.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know mobile homes, but everybody's supposed to have them by 2025 to be metered. So that's another law from some other place. So I'm sure that the district has to comply with whatever the law is. So.
Okay. Any other questions? I just wonder where does Keys Community District get its water? Is it on a well, or does it have surface water? Where does it?
Wells.
It has its own well, and its wells, I guess, are not laced with arsenic.
Some of them were, and there's a state-funded project to actually mitigate for the arsenic.
Okay, but it's still well water that they're dependent on.
Right.
Yeah, so the mobile home park will still be dependent on well water, now just water from, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, only Modesto has surface water.
Okay, very good. Okay, so this is a public hearing. I think I opened it as a public hearing, maybe too early, but if now is available for any public comments with regard to this? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for an action.
I move to approve.
I second.
Option one.
Option
Option 1, yes.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to other matters. Item 7A, response to the 2017-18 Civil Grand Jury Report related to Riverdale Tract Community Service District.
So you'll recall at our last meeting, we had responded to a couple of items for fire districts, and this was an additional item that we received regarding the Riverdale Park Tract Community Services District. LAFCO was invited to respond. We're not required to. However, like the last couple of reports that we had, staff is suggesting at least providing an informational response, sort of clarifying that the districts are independent, that there are some available resources that they could be using for Brown Act training and governance training, and also providing a little additional information about some of the water challenges that they're currently facing, although the report itself, even though the title was regarding potential for them hooking up to Modesto, the report doesn't get into a great amount of detail regarding that. But our letter here is a recommendation to sign to return to them, and the report itself is also attached for the Commission's review.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
Is that tract hooked up to Modesto now?
going to turn it on. If they haven't, I don't think they believe they've turned it on, but they are in the process of, and Patrick knows this all too, bless you, all too well. We've been working very hard, and it's common theme here is these last two letters that we've written are districts that are within my district, and so, but they are working on probably consolidating, joining up with the city of Modesto, and just altogether abandoning their wells and hooking up with Modesto water.
I used to have that district. I know the water quality problems they have. The best thing for them to do would be hook up to Modesto.
Yeah.
Which the lines are already there.
Right. The problem has been it's a very disadvantaged community, and they've been living on very cheap rates over the years, and so it will cost them more, but we think the cost to fix those wells, repair it out there would probably be substantially more over the long term than it will be to just hook into Modesto now. And we're looking through self-help industries to do a lot of things out there to try to help them with these costs, so, yeah. Okay. Any other comments? Then I guess, do we need a motion here to,
Yeah, I move that we authorize the chairperson to sign and submit the letter to 00172018, civil grand jury report.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 7B, fee waiver request for proposed detachment from the Newman Drainage District.
Yes, so this is an item that we have not received an application for yet. This first portion of this request is really requesting a fee waiver. It's a rather unique situation, one that we've been involved in for a bit with information requests. There's a property currently in the Newman Drainage District that's being assessed erroneously, as far as we can tell, thousands of dollars when it should be maybe charged $5 or $6 a year. In looking at the various options, the property owner has been pursuing, trying to correct this for some time, for multiple years. We finally determined that if the property owner is not obtaining service from that district, that one option may be to detach it. That property owner is also, due to the cost involved and due to the costs that have already been incurred with the district, is requesting a waiver. Normally our fee is $3,000. What I'm recommending in here is that this be a fee reduction, so that we would collect a non-refundable $125 deposit. That would cover our mailing costs and our postage costs, something that we don't typically waive. It would be at the commission's discretion to waive the remainder of the $3,000 application fee. So the commission tonight isn't really discussing the merits of the future application itself, but merely whether they feel a fee waiver is appropriate in this case.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
I know all about this case, Mr. Chairman. I have dealt with this drainage district for years, and I have got nothing from them. The issue is that this one house on a quarter acre is charged like $2,000 a year. There is another house that's not even a quarter mile away that's about a half acre, and it pays something like $4 a year. And so I have asked the drainage district to adjust it because there's no justification for this kind of cost. And they have just stonewalled the issue. They have given me the runaround for a couple of years. I've had our auditor involved. I've written them 2 letters. I went out to talk to the chairman, looked at the site with them. I've lost track of how many times I've talked to their attorney. I've had the county council write them a letter. The auditor has called them, and the assessor has been involved too. And we can't get anything done. In fact, when we did the service review, LAFCO even offered to go out and look at their paperwork, and then they told us that they've lost all their paperwork. They cannot, at this point, if you can believe them, justify anybody's charges, because they have no criteria, and the stuff goes back to like the 70s, and they've lost it all. So they can't. I mean, not only can they not justify the charges for this house, but they can't for any other piece of property at all, and they have just refused to cooperate on this. And although this is kind of extreme, detaching from the district, but I can tell you that this particular parcel gets no benefit for this, and they are just getting ripped off by the district, and the district is just totally uncooperative. This has been going on for years. So I've had it with them myself, and I think the only thing that is fair would be to allow this parcel to detach from the district. And I would like to see the district in here when this item comes up so they can justify these charges, because I don't think they can. In fact, I know they can't. So I don't know. I'm really in favor with this. This is a problem that's been going on for years, and it just needs to be resolved.
What is LAFCO's responsibilities with special districts? Can we direct them?
So we don't have the authority, especially with regards to their assessments. We wouldn't have the authority to tell them they cannot or can, or how much a certain assessment should be. They're independent for the most part.
So what we say tonight, they can say, oh, okay.
Right? I mean, LAFCO's authority really does come into play when it's a boundary change. So in this case, a boundary change could potentially solve the issue of what we believe is a longstanding error.
And is that what's coming up,
assessment.
a boundary change?
Right.
Okay.
It would be this parcel to detach from the district, where they're charged about $2,000 a year and getting no service.
Is there any responsibility of that one who's detaching to the district? I know if you detach from a special district, you may have to pay fees, other items.
Not that we're aware of, not any sort of penalty or anything like that.
Well, but the district could come and say, we want some compensation for the $2,000. But I'm curious, who audits them? Who are they responsible to?
It would be the people ultimately. I mean, they have their own board, so they have individual board members who could vote them in and out. But when it comes to an error like that on an assessment, if their attorney isn't advising them to correct it.
And how it works, and I can say, is the district submits the charges to our auditor, Lauren Klein, and then she doesn't have to they don't have to be backed up. So what they take the charges for each parcel that they claim that's owed them, and it's put on that person's property taxes. So that's what the auditor does, and then the tax collector sends out the bill.
But no accountability for what those
None.
numbers are.
Not our job.
No, that's not the job, yeah.
But they have actually refused to show us how it's calculated. Any other kind of charge, like a fire district, it's so much a square foot, or there's charges for cemetery districts, healthcare districts. They all have a way of calculating how much that person's charged by some type of criteria. This district has no criteria at all. They don't have any paperwork. They can't tell you why this person is charged this and somebody is charged something else, that they've lost all their papers. And it's like this happened probably 40 years ago. Now, it's just nuts. I've never seen a district like this before.
Okay, very good. When was the last time we did a review? Has the district had a review?
Not too long ago, within the past year or two.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a review last year, I believe. So
Came up with
municipal service review. The district sort of makes sense, but the issue really is what people are charged for the service. There's absolutely no justification to it that they can point to. There's no formula that they can apply to what anyone's charged.
Okay.
Our legal looked like he was going to say something.
No, I was not, but thank you.
I was giving you the opportunity.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what's before us here tonight, though, is just the request to waive the fee, the $3,000 deposit, I think, to move forward with this, that will come to us again.
Yeah, we had a recommendation there for the lower amount, the $125 for postage and mailing.
So,
It would be a fee reduction.
Okay, so we have three options, though: the full fee waiver, $125, or deny the fee waiver request. Those are. Any comment? I'm going to open this up for any comment. Do you guys have anything like this? You can come right up here. Sorry, come right up here to the microphone and state your name for the record.
I'm Georgia Cerruti, and I just would like to thank you for your attention to this matter. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Okay, I will bring it back to the board for a recommendation.
I move that we reduce the fee to the 125.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes unanimously. So we got it down to $125 there. Still probably too much compared to the pain you've suffered here. Okay, very good. Thank you.
When this comes back, could, not only this one section, but the entire system has to be evaluated for why we're going to do this removal. So can we do that just to put someone on the spot, not to put them on the spot, but to have explanations of why they're doing what they're doing?
We could certainly communicate with them and try to get a response back. We did a little bit back when we prepared the MSR, sending them information requests and not really getting a lot back, other than saying that they had misplaced their study.
So if they're not performing as a special district, can we dissolve a special district? Lawyer?
I think that they are functioning, they are draining water off of some ag areas there. They just can't justify.
Yeah, it's likely
the
they wouldn't
charges
meet the
are.
overall criteria to dissolve entirely. This is one of those things where they've got an issue, a governance issue, really, with the ability to justify their own fees. And that's something that I think they're aware that they need to work on. And I think the last bit of correspondence that we had with them, they said they were going to initiate a new rate study. So that's something that we can kind of monitor as this progresses.
All right, because I'm sure Newman could subsume some of the responsibilities of that district. I'm
Maybe,
just throwing
yeah.
it out there.
Okay, very good. Any other comments on that one? We will move on now to commissioners' comments. Any other comments anybody else would like to make about?
I'm glad to be back.
Glad to be able to vote once.
Yeah. Okay, and I guess I'm glad you're both here, I guess.
That's good. That's good.
One down here.
It is, okay. Okay, no other comments. Additional matters at the discretion of chairperson, nothing. Executive officers report.
Yes, just as a way of explanation, Commissioner Dunlop has actually moved out of the state, so he has resigned both his position as city council person and then also from LAFCO. And the city selection committee appointed actually Mayor O'Brien back in January, just in case, appointed him as a backup in case any of the commissions were to lose a member. So we welcome him aboard and thank him also for coming last minute because we found this out within the past few days and he was available to show up.
Well, I had no idea Tom had left. It's just, this was very quick, I guess, huh?
About 2 weeks ago.
Was it just a quick, I mean, they must have been planning this for a while.
His job moved to Idaho.
Oh, okay.
And so you move where the money is.
That's where it was. Okay, good. Very good.
And
Wow.
just for the commission's information too, regarding the Oakdale Rural Fire item, that is still going on. The protest hearing for that item is next week.
Okay.
Next Wednesday, we'll be going out to the Valley Home Fire Station to collect protests from the landowners and registered voters. So we'll give you an update after that on how it went.
Could we send a letter to Tom, too, thanking him for his service? Could
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys draft something? I'd love
Definitely.
to sign it.
Yeah, usually we ask the commissioner to come back, but he's already
Yeah.
out of state, but definitely.
Get a letter and we'll sign it and send it. That'd be great. Okay. Very good. Any other?
We'll have a couple items for next month, including selection of an independent auditor. We're still working on the application for City of Newman as well. We're just awaiting one item on that. We also reviewed a few environmental impact reports that came out recently that we may see future applications on from Riverbank Series and Modesto.
Very good.
That's all.
Very good. Closed session. We have closed session tonight.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman, and pursuant to Government Code Section 54957, The closed session will be held to consider the public employee performance evaluation, and the employee who is in question will be the LAFCO executive officer.
Okay, very good. And I guess it's appropriate that, do we ask for any comment on our any comment with regard to our closed session? Seeing none, we will adjourn to closed session. So are we going to report out here after
Well,
we?
depending on what happens in the closed section, I'll let you know.
Okay, we'll close the meeting to go into closed session.
Thank you.